Hello friends, welcome back. If you are currently on the market for an everyday tote bag, you are in the right place because today's video is dedicated to my personal favorite everyday tote bags. These are all from my collection. I have had them for years, so I'm going to give you my true, honest thoughts on all of these, as well as tips and tricks on picking the correct handbag to make it work for your lifestyle. I will also be rounding up some more options down in the description box below for you, so no matter your budget, we will find the perfect tote bag for you today. Before I show you my everyday tote bags and we go through all the pros and cons of those, here are a few things to consider as far as quality control and picking the right handbag for your lifestyle. When it comes to shopping for tote bags, you don't want to just simply go off the fact that you like the design. You definitely want to consider how practical it will be, the materials, and some different things, because even if you love how something looks, it might not work for your lifestyle. So let's quickly run through what to look for when shopping for a tote bag. So this tip can apply to any handbag that you are considering. If you're really unsure if it's gonna work for you or not, the first thing I would recommend to do is to just make a quick little checklist of your everyday essentials. And from there, you can look at how large of a size you need for that everyday tote bag. There are definitely times where I run out the door in a much smaller practical crossbody bag if I just need a few essentials here and there, so you can make a list for that. And then you can make a list for things that are nice to carry, and that would be the size that you're looking for a tote bag specifically. So go ahead and make a little list of maybe your non-negotiable true handbag essentials, depending on if you want a smaller bag, and then make a list of things that are nice to have on hand. Like if you want to have a hairbrush or be able to carry your laptop and those types of things. And then the next thing to consider is what kind of strap you're looking for. Are you wanting exclusively a shoulder strap, or would you also like a crossbody strap? Do you want to be hands-free? That's definitely the next thing to look for. If you are specifically looking for a work bag, you want to make sure that it's going to carry your laptop, your planner, all of those other essentials that you need for work. When it comes to work totes, I would especially recommend something that has a little bit of a wider strap and has a little more structure to it. If you're on the market for an everyday mom bag, you want something that's going to be roomy, but also gives you a little more versatility as far as how you want to carry it. Like, are the straps long enough to go over the stroller, or do you want to be able to have that optional crossbody strap to throw on to be more hands-free? Maybe a tote bag isn't what you need, but maybe you would prefer something more of a backpack style. That's truly just personal preference there, but also consider the material there. You want something that's going to be durable, maybe wipeable, or something that you can easily keep clean, because you're going to have little ones also maybe reaching inside. If you're on the market for a travel tote, that's where I would specifically recommend going for maybe not a leather option. Go for something a little bit lighter weight, like a nylon. Definitely look for comfortable, wider straps, and I would definitely recommend a zipper over anything that's open. If you're really looking at the quality of a handbag, here are a few things that I would assess or look for. First and foremost, how is the hardware? How does the zipper work? Is there any catches or snags there? Do you have to open it with one or two hands? Does it slide easily? Always check the zipper first and foremost. And then you also want to take a look at the hardware as well. Is the hardware too heavy for you? I mean, that might be a really nice quality feature, but it might not be super practical if it weighs the bag down too much. I like a little bit of a balance here. Like, I don't want an empty, hollow feeling cheap hardware, but I also don't want something that's too heavy either. Next, you can assess the stitching. How well is it stitched? Are there any loose threads? Is it uneven? Are there areas where it's been stitched over like a few extra times and not as evenly balanced out? The stitching on the bag is bad from the get-go. It's just gonna get worse. And then the last thing when it comes to quality of handbags is assessing the overall structure of it. If it's supposed to be a structured handbag, is it actually sitting structured when you put it down? Is it structured only when things are inside or on its own? Especially if you're shopping for leather handbags, they are prone to creasing over time. So you do want to assess the structure and quality there, because if something's going to crease over time and that's going to bother you, it's just something to keep in mind. If you are currently on the market for an everyday tote bag, I would definitely recommend sticking with something neutral, especially depending on how much you're willing to spend. But if it's something that you're going to carry every single day, it just makes it a lot easier if it's a solid neutral color. So if you wear a lot of black, You probably want a black tote or maybe a lighter tan or brown tone, or even like a navy option depending on what you carry most. But if you pick the right color tote bag and it's something that you're reaching for work every single day, it's not something that you're gonna have to switch out as often. You can keep it like organized and ready to go no matter what you're gonna end up wearing. And those neutral colors will also carry you through multiple seasons as well. Starting off with a classic, you will find a trend here that I definitely stick to classic neutral handbags when it comes to adding tote bags into my wardrobe. But we are starting off with a true classic. This is the large Longchamp tote. If you're curious what I carry inside this, I do have a what's in my bag video, so I will link that below or put a little pop-up here if you want to check that out. This is such a practical tote bag and useful for so many different occasions, but there are definitely some cons to consider. So let's quickly run through the pros and cons. This is one of my go-to bags whenever I'm traveling. I love that it doesn't have any logos. It's very durable. The material is also more waterproof. Not worried about this getting, messed up as I'm tossing it in and out of places. You can also fold it up, so it's really easy to pack. So on one hand, it's really nice that it is very foldable. There's not a lot of structure to it, but that's definitely something to consider as well because it is just an empty pocket. There's no structure to it, so it definitely leans more casually. Inside, it does have 2 pockets. I honestly have never used the pockets. I do prefer to use my own pouches or organizers as needed. If you are considering this bag, I would recommend some sort of bag organizer. You can get these on Amazon. I'll link the one that I have down below because I liked that it didn't have felt on it. And because there's not a ton of structure to it, it will slouch. So if you don't have any sort of organizer in it, it will like sag at the bottom, especially if you put a heavier laptop or planner inside if you want to use this for work. Another pro is I do think this is a really good bang for your buck as far as how much this costs, how much you could reach for it, and also how durable it is. I know they have really amazing customer service on these as well. And this is a bag that should hold up for many, many years in your wardrobe. It is very lightweight. Another reason I love it because of the material. It's not gonna be heavy from the start, which is definitely something to consider with tote bags. You always want to try them on before you have anything inside, because if it's already starting off heavy, it's just gonna be even heavier and more uncomfortable. And I will say this is probably the lightest weight and most comfortable tote in my collection. It also has a very generous strap length, and the straps are also very comfortable, especially considering they are a little bit more on the narrow side. That's another thing to consider with tote bag shopping. The more narrow the straps are, the more that they can dig into your shoulder, cause more discomfort and trigger points and all of that. Because this bag is so lightweight overall, I don't find that to be an issue. Another pro for this bag is it does fully zip up as well. I actually don't find myself using this at all day to day. Like I don't ever worry about buckling this, but if I need to, I will zip it closed. But most of the time, I'm just throwing it on my shoulder and going. Another pro is it does often come in multiple color options, multiple neutrals. They also offer it in more seasonal colors as well. If this bag is a little too big for you, if you're more on the petite side, they do also make this in a smaller version too. Next up, let's talk about my current tote bag. I picked this one up from Veronica Beard in the Nordstrom anniversary sale last month, and I have to say I've used it for about a month now, and it is such a practical bag. Not the most affordable, especially now that it is not on sale, but the quality is definitely there. Really nice pebbled leather. It also comes in navy. It's also not an overwhelmingly large tote bag, so it's not gonna overpower your frame if you are more on the petite side. My favorite thing about this tote is the pockets. I use this front pocket for my phone for quick, easy access. There's also one on the back as well. Shoulder straps are definitely not as long as some other totes, but they're definitely substantial enough where it's quick and easy for me to throw it over my shoulder. But something to keep in mind if you do wear really bulky sweaters and heavy coats and scarves, there's not as much room as other totes here. But I also like that it's not too long because it still gives you the flexibility to wear this on your forearm or even carry it by hand if you want to mix up how you're styling or carrying your tote. Oh, I'm getting out of breath because this thing is, I'm not gonna lie, it's like packed full at the moment with all of my mom necessities. Also comes with a longer strap, which most tote bags do not come with a longer strap. So that was another major pro for me. It is adjustable. You can remove this and throw it inside if you don't want it to be there. But this strap is great because you can also wear it crossbody. another main perk of this tote bag. It does come with feet on the bottom. This bag sort of reminds me of a much more elevated version of the popular boat bags that are trending at the moment. And the main reason that I purchased this was to just be a everyday mom tote bag. I have all of my essentials here. I have all of Josie's essentials here. I have baby number 2 on the way. I feel like I could also make this work as a diaper bag. There's still plenty of room here. There is also a zipper, so you can close it. It does fit my 14-inch MacBook as well if you want to use it as a work tote. Some cons I will mention, I've only carried it for about a month, but the interior is a suede material, so not going to be the most durable. I would recommend to use pouches and maybe your own liner if you really want to protect it. I personally just use different pouches. I feel like that keeps things a lot cleaner. And then another con I will mention is it is definitely a little bit on the pricier side, but I will say the quality definitely lines up. It's a very nice, thick, genuine pebbled leather, really nice zipper, everything's smooth, there's feet. So I am really happy with the purchase, and I did of course get it during the Nordstrom sale, so it was slightly discounted then. A quick reminder for those of you who are not super familiar with my channel, I do always link everything in the description box, and when I share pricier items, things that are typically over $200 or $250, I like to try to stick to like a $50 to $150 price point. But if I'm sharing something a little more expensive, I always try to share other options at lower price points. So if I can find a look for less, I'm always on the hunt for those of you who are looking to save a little bit more money or if something's out of your budget. Speaking of budget, let's talk about one that is a little bit more affordable. This one retails for $150. It is genuine leather. This one is from Quince. If you are on the market for specifically a work tote bag, this is definitely one of the top contenders that I would recommend. My favorite reasoning for that is just the overall organization, especially because it has this middle zipper here, which is very roomy and perfect to just throw your laptop or planner in there. And you don't have to add extra bulk or weight by adding a laptop case inside, because it will keep it protected and of course safer from just flopping around in your laptop and someone reaching in and grabbing it real quick. Zipper quality is really smooth. It does also have additional compartments as well. There's a back little pocket here, which would be great for like your lipstick or little things that you want to quickly grab. And then there's 2 pockets in the front. This one has no logos except for right here on the interior. It's just embossed where it says Quince. It comes in multiple color options. I believe this is the cappuccino. I do really like this little flared detail. It's still a structured bag, but because it has that, I feel like it could be dressed up or down. This tote bag has a longer drop length, so very quick and easy to throw over your shoulder. It doesn't feel claustrophobic under your shoulder if you're having bulkier coats, sweaters during fall and winter. Still plenty of room here. If you are someone who wants all of your stuff zipped up and secure, this one is not going to offer that for you because it only has the middle zipper. So there's still openness here. So if you're gonna use this for travel, wouldn't necessarily recommend. This bag does also come with feet, and it has a very structured and firm bottom. So it's not going to sag on you over time. And overall, the leather on this is also more structured. It's pebbled like the Veronica Beard, but definitely a more structured leather, if you can hear that. To quickly summarize that, a few cons that I did want to point out again are it does have thinner straps, so keep that in mind. If you really weigh it down, it can hurt your shoulder. If you're going to be carrying it or like commuting to work for a long period of time or using it for travel, I personally wouldn't recommend it as a travel tote because it does not zip closed. And material wise, it is a genuine leather, but it is more structured and a little bit heavier on its own, even empty. So keep that in mind depending on how much you really need to pack inside. Since I mentioned travel, I wanted to just quickly mention my favorite travel tote. If you're on the market specifically for a travel tote, I do exclusively just use this tote bag for travel, but it has been my go-to for 3 years now. Are on the market for a travel tote, I would say the biggest things to keep in mind are the material. I went with nylon because it is a lot lighter weight, more comfortable to carry. I also would only recommend something that zips closed because you are stuffing your bag under the seat most of the time. You're not supposed to put these little tote bags like on the overhead compartment just because I don't know, did planes get smaller? But like, how come everyone's luggage never fits anymore? I don't know. This one does have like the little dolly thing on the back so you can slide it over your carry-on. It does have feet. They are leather. I don't really think they serve any sort of purpose whatsoever. So definitely could have went without that just because the bag is so unstructured. Like your bag's gonna be touching the bottom. The feet aren't really doing anything. Generally, I really like more of a structured handbag. They're just easier to look inside and see and like be organized, and doesn't feel as much like an empty pit. But when it comes to travel, I actually love that this isn't structured because I can stuff this thing with whatever I need. If I end up not packing as efficiently on the way home, or if my bag's overweight on the way home because I shopped, I could throw extra things in here like my makeup bag, and it just is never full. But because it's also unstructured, I can easily stuff it under the seat no matter the size, because it's always gonna kind of be different depending on the plane that you're on or where you're sitting on the plane. So because it's not structured, I can just stuff it wherever. And because I have both, I just wanted to share really quickly the difference. This is the large, this is the medium. I originally bought this as a diaper bag, but I did not end up using it as a diaper bag. I ended up using something else, but it would be a really great diaper bag. It has like the side pocket here for your water bottle. I would say this size is definitely a little bit more like an everyday size, depending on what you want to use it for, and it would still be substantial for travel as well. These bags do come with a crossbody strap. I find this to be very heavy, so I actually don't ever use that or keep that in my bag just because I don't need the extra weight. Con is because it's slouchy, it can be very much an endless pit. It comes with little pouches. I don't use those because they're also very slouchy and I just prefer my own pouches. But with a tote like this that's unstructured, you're gonna need pouches or organizers. I very rarely go for black, but with travel specifically, I got black in this because it is being stuffed on the plane. Luggage gets dirty, traveling, like it's gonna pick up dirt. So I ended up going for the black, and I will say it looks brand new still. There's no stitching issues or anything like that. There are definitely look for less on Amazon. So I'll link those if that one's out of your budget. I don't have any experience with them, but I know they look similar. I did have to bring out very much a classic. I got this bag back in 2016. Tim actually gifted it to me when I graduated from PT school. And during that time, I used it as my everyday work tote. I honestly do not carry this bag very much now. I just find it to be pretty uncomfortable because of the straps. They are very thin and they will dig into your shoulder like in no time, especially if you are throwing a water bottle and laptop in here. It's gonna get heavy. There is no zippers. I think they make totes that have zippers, but this is just like the classic never full. Mine has the little pink interior. Can cinch in the sides if you want to make it smaller, if you're more petite. I honestly never really did that when I carried this, but every now and then I'll still pull it out. When it comes to that bag, I will say I think it is more practical than a speedy bag if you're really wanting a Louis Vuitton. But at the same time, I think there are better quality, more timeless options to consider, especially at that price point. Next, I have a Chloe Woody tote. This is the medium size. I have the Biscotti, which I'm not sure if they still carry this lighter tan color. I got it a few years ago. I think most people would consider this like a summer bag, but for me, I reach for it more during fall specifically, and then winter, over using it as a summer bag. I don't know, I think just because I don't wear as much like of these neutral shades during summer as I do during fall and winter. This tote bag has no feet. Definitely something to keep in mind if you're putting this on the floor, like it's gonna get dirty, especially with this lighter canvas or like fabric material. So this is not gonna be the easiest to keep looking pristine as far as little marks and stains and things like that. So depending on how well you take care of your bags, that's definitely a main thing to consider with this. It's not leather like the other pieces, which are gonna be a lot more durable. But at the same time, because there's not leather, it is a lighter weight tote bag, very comfortable straps. These are wider. I like how they're stitched because they're not gonna like roll on your shoulder or anything like that. They have the little leather pieces. This bag does not have any organization except for a pretty substantial side pocket. Like that would be where I would put my phone if I ever let my phone out of my hand type of thing. It is very convenient for that. Inside is fabric, so keep that in mind if you're throwing your lip gloss and lipsticks in there, or like food, because it can easily discolor if that will bother you. If you are looking to go designer with a tote bag, this one is definitely, if I could say, more on the affordable side just because it's not leather and it is like a really good lightweight. I find that a lot of designer tote bags are just way too heavy for me. Next up, we have another relatively new to me bag in my tote collection. This is from Denier. This is the larger size. They do make it in a midi version. The smaller one just proportionately isn't my favorite look, but that's just me. The smaller one does come with a longer strap though. This is the beige color. The great thing about this brand is they are just such a classic. There's not logos. They always stick with very classic, timeless color options. This bag is pretty substantially heavy on its own, so definitely something to keep in mind. And it's not what I would use personally for work or like if I needed to really throw my laptop in here, just because it's just gonna flop around a lot. But in comparison to all the other tote bags, look how easy it is to look inside this thing. It just opens up so substantially. You could easily find what you're looking for, which is really nice pro. It doesn't zip close, but there are 3 snap closures there. So it does give you pretty fair security there. It does have feet on the bottom and it is structured, a textured leather. I don't expect this to slouch a ton, especially if you store it correctly, like by snapping these. One thing I will mention though is these do like wing out. They're not like a perfect type of shape to them. And it's also a very awkward bag to figure out storage. Like this is not fitting in any of my shelves. It's just a very wide tote for storage. And then the straps are rounded, which I don't find to be the most comfortable. I think something that sits flatter or has like some puffiness to it is more comfortable. These are pretty structured and then rounded. So if you're really loading this bag down, I do think it will get uncomfortable over time. But if you're on the market for something that is more of that quiet luxury, will stand the test of time, I do think that is a good one to consider. The quality is really good. I expect it to last a pretty long time. It isn't quickly like creasing or anything like some leather tote bags can. Hopefully now you're feeling much more confident if you are on the market for an everyday tote bag. Those were some of my personal favorites, but I would also love to hear from you. What bag are you carrying every day? Is it a tote bag? Do you like a shoulder bag, crossbody bag? Is there a specific style you recommend? Let us know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button. That definitely helps me in the algorithm. But thank you so much for watching, and I will be back again soon with another fashion video.